Well, good evening once again. I'm back. Seems like it's been a nightly occurrence for me to be talking to you while either reloading or talking to you about real estate. In this episode, I just thought while doing this, I'm currently reloading 45 ACPs right now, and I just got done chatting with a friend who, of course, I try not to do a question per video, but considering that some of these questions I've been getting are are very similar, so I thought I'd kind of answer it in a short video in a 10-minute format, right? So that I get a lot of viewers that are actually listening to the same information. And some of those, and these questions are pretty common. So I just told myself, I'll just create a video and I'll send it to him and see if others would care to listen. So anyway, uh, new shooters, right? Um, they always ask, or they're kind of hesitant to ask certain questions because they either don't know how to ask that question, that they're an answer to what they're looking for, or maybe they get a response different from what they want. And I tell them all the time, hey, look, man, if you're looking for information, I am not hesitant to give you the facts, and then it's up to you to decide. So basically, the question of my friend was this: he's a beginner shooter. Seems to be a lot of our beginner shooters are wanting to purchase semi-automatic pistols. And his first question to me is, Marcus, I'm really looking into purchasing my first semi-automatic, not a revolver, but a semi-automatic. Hopefully, you guys listening understands the difference. But we're not going to go dig into that right now. What is your tip? What kind of a brand am I looking at? What kind of a gun? What do you use or stuff like that, right? So that is a traditional question. Somebody just starting off purchasing their first firearm. Uh, they're not used to the commonality, and they are not used to the idiosyncrasies of a particular firearm. So they're kind of all over the place, which is okay. My job is to make it simple for everybody, right? Because the first thing that a lot of people kind of dive into is that the gun itself. Uh, Me in particular, I think the question should develop into a form of determining what is it really your hands, your support hand is willing to accept when it fits a firearm, right? And if that is the case, looks really don't matter, right? Well, unfortunately, most of us go for the looks. I go for the looks of a firearm and conform to the conform to the ergonomics of the firearm once I have it. But I've been shooting enough to know the difference, right? I've been shooting since I was a little boy back home in the Philippines. Uh, 45 caliber ACPs 1911 Colt pistols. Crappy ass Colt pistols back at that time in the 70s, which my father owned, my family owned. And that's all we had. It's either you owned an M1 Garand, an M16A, it was just a basic M16 at that time, uh, a 45 ACP Colt 1911, a 38, 380, not a 38, a 38. And that was it. There were no 9 millimeters. There were no 40 cals. There's no anything bigger than that. It was a 45 or a 380. Okay. So, and that's why I just love the 45. I'm used to shooting 45s. But that's not what I'm gonna that's not what I'm gonna tell them. Specifically, what I'm gonna tell them is that, hey, look, you gotta figure out two things: the ergonomics of a firearm itself, and what caliber. As a matter of fact, let's transition off to another table. Let me finish these two cartridges here, right? And then we're gonna transition off to another table and show you the difference between three common calibers that you might end up encountering to purchase the kind of firearm that it actually fires. All right, hold on. All right, so here we are. Here we are. All right, I'm gonna sit my ass down. I got 100. I got some reloads there of 45s and put that in there. See, reloaded 45s, and these are actually bad 45s that failed the test. So what I have here are 3 different cartridges. Right? If you can see that appropriately, so let's put it this way. Right there. This, the biggest one right there, right here, this big boy right here, 45 ACP. That is your 40 caliber Smith & Wesson, and that's your 9mm Luger. Okay, the most common pistols that fires a particular cartridge is the 9mm Luger. The next most common one would be the 45 ACP, and the third, well, I'm not going to actually say the third is the most the 40 cal Smith & Wesson's the third most common, because I think the 38 might, but consider the 38 is the tiniest of them all, 380. The 40, I say, would come in a good third, right? So what's the difference between, by the way, what people have always asked me, what does the number signify? What does the term 9, 40, 45 signify? Okay, there's 2 terms that you need to remember here, 2 terminologies. If it's in standard metric, that means it started in Europe. The 9mm right here, started in Germany. Okay. The 45 ACP started in America, and the 40 caliber round started in America. Now, why 9mm? Is because, hey, they use the metric system. Now, what does caliber mean? Caliber is basically inch. So when you say 0.45, it's 0.45 inch, right? It's basically 0.45 of an inch wide. So the number signifies the diameter of a bullet. Okay? So this is a 40. Basically, a 40 cal is a 10mm. In math, right? The 45 is, I don't know what it is, but it's wide, as you can see, right? So now, each caliber has its own idiosyncrasies. You will notice that the 9mm is smaller of the 3. The 45 caliber is the widest of the 3, and the 40 caliber is somewhere in between. Okay? So, why am I highlighting this? Is because if you decided to purchase a firearm, you will have to consider the width of the round. Okay? The width. How wide is it? Not the length, but the width. So the first thing you got to consider is, what can I really shoot? A beginning shooter, for a beginner, I would suggest you go out of the range, and a lot of these ranges allows you to rent different firearms. Okay? And there's a whole ton. The standard now default is a 9mm. Right? That is the standard round. Okay? So, right there, if you want to see a comparison of the 3. The 9 is to your left, the 45 is to your right. Okay? Now, it doesn't matter what the bullet is, because they're all hollow points. These 2 right here are my reloads, and this one is what I purchased, 45 caliber. Though I could also reload those. And as you can see from the bottom, from where the primers are sitting, let's flip this over, just like that. They are, again, of different width. Okay? So now, you got to consider, okay, what is it really that I really like? Now, the majority of folks, about 80%, just purchase a 9mm pistol, because it chambers to a 9mm round. The advantages, you could, out of one magazine, standard mags, for 9 millimeter carries anywhere from 12 to 17 rounds, right? I've seen something, I think Glocks, extended magazines for Springfield that go up to 20 plus, or Glocks to 22. So that's the advantage. Of course, if you're shooting, it doesn't really matter what it is. That's why got man invented magazines, right? So you could just reload with a magazine. And then for the 45, because it's just so much bigger. I mean, if you stand a 9 millimeter and a 45 together, I mean, look at that baby, right? So the standard, I own a SIG 320, and that thing carries only 8 rounds. And it's not even a single stack. It's kind of staggered, but it's stubby. It's nice. It's comfortable. So to me, that is comfortable enough, right? Uh, uh, my suggestion would be just get a 9 millimeter. It gives you plenty of rounds per magazine, uh, and it allows you to be more comfortable. To more experienced shooters, they go for the bigger rounds. I don't have a pistol bigger than a 45. I'm contemplating on a 10 millimeter, but that would come later, right? So all I have are 9s, 40s, and 45 caliber round pistols. And I'm all proficient in using all of them. I'm not an expert, but I can handle my own. I mean, they're still all over the place when I shoot, but at least I know the intricacies and the mechanics of a particular pistol chambering into a particular round. So again, two things. Understand what round you really want to get used to shooting and stay there. Get used to it. Understand the mechanics of the gun. And before you purchase the gun, tell yourself, okay, I'm really committed to a 9. Because 9 is the standard. Now, if you're going to say, I'm going to shoot a 40 or a 45, I'm going to purchase a 40 and a 45 without even being in the range itself, understanding the mechanics of a 40 and a 45, and muzzle flip, recoil, etc., I think you're starting off on the wrong foot. So if you haven't purchased a gun and you're going into a gun store, just check a 9 millimeter. They're all over the place. There's a lot of choices. Don't go past the 9, and 40s are a little bit more jumpier. They're just snappier. And 45, the muzzle flip is it's a little bit higher. So you're not used to controlling the ergonomics of the gun and the pistol. Stay with the 9. But that's just my opinion, okay? And 9s are just a lot cheaper. I mean, look at this. I mean, I even stopped reloading 9s because I could buy them cheaply. But considering I purchased another 9 millimeter pistol, and I'm trying to get really, really good at shooting 9s, I think I'm better off with a 40. I've shot more 40s in my life than 9s, but the 9s is catching up. Actually, before I came to America, I've been shooting more 45s. Then I transitioned to the 40, and now beginning to like the 9. So it's kind of inverted. Started off with a bigger ass, fatter round, big and slow and fat. Yeah, there are still some use for big, slow, and fat, especially cartridges. So there you go. Well, hopefully I've answered a question 2 ways for some of these beginners. Don't worry about the brand of the gun. If you get yourself a decent $400 gun, good enough for me. Because you go any lower than that, you're gonna get what you pay for. Guns, firearms are they may not make a difference now, but you don't want to not have one when you need one. All right? So spend on it and learn how to use it. Start with a cartridge. All right? You guys enjoy the evening, and hopefully I was able to answer a question for 2 of my friends out there. Right? You guys take care. Enjoy the evening. Post.